I came to Pennsylvania Innocence Project this summer to try to help people out. I worked in different places before and I've never been on the criminal defense side. So I went to see what it would be like, especially in like the post-conviction world. It gives me a different viewpoint. I come from like a police world. My dad's a cop, my uncle's a cop. So I would never really think badly of cops, but almost all these cases have some aspect of unfairness that the cops do to have these guys prosecuted. So it's very eye-opening and it will make me second guess a lot of things.
I wanted to work for the Pennsylvania Innocence Project because I think the work that they do is really amazing. And I was a criminal justice major in undergrad, so I was heavily interested in criminal law before I got here. And I just wanted to kind of explore a little bit more about criminal law, and especially as the post-conviction side of it. The case I am presenting today is an arson murder case from Allegheny County. It occurred in 1993, and we believe it was based on faulty fire science and some other faulty science. I have prepared an investigative report to prepare for my presentation later. I've also gone through with the other people presenting and done some mock presentations to try to get in the groove for today. And we've been pitching questions to each other that we think we might get asked. Going forward, I definitely think that this gave me a new perspective on the system in general, the criminal justice system, and kind of how to look at cases. I think I'll take a look at it more thoroughly, more in depth, all the different, parts of a case, especially on like the different prosecutors and detectives that worked on it, because we've experienced a lot of cases with, some faulty, detective work and stuff like that.
I wanted to work for the Pennsylvania Innocence Project because I'm definitely interested in pursuing a career in legal work, but also I'm more interested in greater social justice issues, policy work, and I thought that the Innocence Project had a great kind of mission, but also expansive opportunity for me to kind of get experience in all those fields, which I've definitely found at the project.
I come from a sociology background in undergrad, and so I'm interested in the root causes of poverty and how we organize ourselves as a society. And I think criminal justice has a great deal to do with that we morally condemn people for certain actions, and this is the system that we have in place to enforce our moral choices. And so it's important that that system works as it's supposed to work, and when an innocent person ends up in prison, it has failed somewhere along the line there. And the Innocence Project, their mission is to correct those injustices, and I think that's tremendously important work. And from a legal perspective, I'm interested in criminal defense and possibly being a public defender one day. So this experience, meeting with people in prison and arguing for these cases before our case review committee, as we're going to do this afternoon, is a great experience, and I think will help me along the line later as I pursue my legal career.
So today, Mike and I have the opportunity to present a case that has left a man in prison wrongfully, we believe, for now
it's almost
20 years. And the case that we're dealing with, actually, he got out of prison and then had to drive himself back to prison 5 months later after the Supreme Court reversed the decision. So this is a very high-profile innocence case, and we've got the chance to meet our client in prison. And for me, that was really a highlight of the summer, kind of. I never thought that I could go into prison and have someone make me feel comfortable there, make me feel safe, make me feel like the work I'm doing is useful, not just useful, but important. And for this person, it was a humanizing experience because I felt that I could connect with this man, hear his story, and not just believe it, but want to work for it and work for him and his cause.
As Becca said, it was a tremendously humanizing experience. We have spent months preparing this investigative report, which will be used by the review committee to decide whether or not we take this case on. And that's important work, of course, but when you're doing this report, it's just a name and a number on a piece of paper. And seeing this person individually, in person, face to face, really brought the story home to me. I realized that this is somebody who's been in prison for 2 decades. He's got a family on the outside. He's got reasons to keep fighting, and he kind of he brought a level of passion to the work that I had felt in the abstract, of course, but on a much more real level than I had ever experienced before. I think we've got a good case here. I mean, he has a pretty strong alibi. There's multiple, certainly allegations and evidence of police misconduct. There's prosecutorial missteps that were made that should be remedied. And so with all that together, I think this is certainly a sufficiently compelling case that we should at least be looking into the possibility of litigation, if not going right into court.
Our client definitely has a lot on the line today. This is his last chance, essentially. He doesn't have another opportunity in federal court, and this is his last PCRA petition that's going through as we speak. And I think that obviously the project, I feel not just as an employee of the project, but an employee for our client. I feel like I've developed a relationship with him. We've had correspondence outside of just meeting him in prison. And I think that kind of responsibility that the Innocence Project takes on when they take on a person and their case is very unique, and you don't see that kind of interaction, especially in an internship experience. But just the level of accountability that the project holds with its clients, and going to see them and checking up with them, I think that is just like a noble cause and a noble way of organizing a initiative.
I have a lot of friends and colleagues from school who are interning with judges this summer, working at firms, and doing a wide variety of things. But from everybody I've talked to, it seems that I have had the greatest opportunity to get my hands dirty, to meet clients in person, to write legal documents that really have an impact on how we proceed representing clients. And it's tremendously valuable experience. It's great writing experience. It's good interpersonal skills. It's good client management skills. Managing expectations is, of course, Marissa will tell us about that all the time. These are important skills, and I'm going to use them as I go forward in my career.
I have loved the internship so far. It's a really rewarding experience. We get to do a lot of hands-on work, speaking to the clients, writing them letters. It's really awesome. I'm working on 2 different cases right now. So my first case is a murder case with 4 defendants, and we're working with one of the defendants. And he's the only one who has never confessed. The other 3 have. And I think he's innocent, but it's really nice to try and fight for him. And then my other case that I'm working on is also a murder case, and I'm working on a habeas petition and a PCRA petition for him. So the habeas petition is pending right now while we work on the PCRA, but I just started that yesterday, so it's really nice reading all the material, and I love it so far. Yesterday, I got to go to Graterford Prison, which was really nice, and we met with a few of the clients, so I talked to 2 different of the guys, and they were so nice and so optimistic about their situation. We get to read through all of the files ourselves. If we need a letter, we need documents. I've gone to the courthouse like 3 times now to try and find the documents on our own. We go back in the little lawyer's room, which is nice to feel like an actual lawyer, and look through the files. The PCRA petition I'm working on now, Neelam said I get to write some of it, so that's going to be nice to actually write someone's PCRA petition or help them write it. So there's been a lot that's not just sitting and doing research all day, a lot of actual reading through trial transcripts. Nick said that I could go talk to some people he's interviewing too for investigations, so that will be really cool if that gets to happen, but there's a lot of hands-on stuff. Yeah, I definitely feel like all of the interns are a real part of it. You guys rely on us for most of the hands-on work that we have to do. We're allowed to, go in the room, look through files, go through what we need, take what we need without asking questions or really asking permission. It's a lot of everybody working together, everybody helping each other out. If we ever have questions or we need help from you guys have been so helpful with that. But it's really like a family here. I like it that we all just kind of sit and chat and hang out with each other, and everyone's together in one spot, so it makes it easy.
We're told on the first day of law school that we're in a service industry, that we're supposed to actually be helping people. And yet your first year of law school, you really don't get any sort of hands-on experience. You really don't get to put any faces to the names that you read about in the cases. And
And I think for me, particularly with my experience with my first criminal law course, it was all very lofty, very philosophical, which was obviously necessary and useful, but to be able to actually now put faces to names and to get real interaction with these clients makes it that much more useful and gives me an interest in criminal law that, to be honest with you, before coming to the project I didn't necessarily have. So for me, now it's something that I consider as a potential career path in the future, which has been incredible to get the opportunity to find something new that I like to do outside of a school context. It's incredible how much responsibility a person can be given with how little experience we have. I think you end up finishing your first year and you actually have more questions than when you entered. You actually feel like you know less than when you started. So to be able to come into an office like this and to work with attorneys and staff members that really trust my opinion, that ask me, well, what is your gut feeling about something? That's something I would have never expected. And I'm glad that I have that responsibility because I'm really learning to test my own instincts, and things like that aren't things that are tested on exams or written in papers for school. Going into a prison and actually meeting some of the inmates and some of the clients that we work with every day is truly eye-opening because we're actually putting faces to names, and we're realizing that, you know, a lot of times these individuals, they were put on trial, and their personalities and the kinds of human beings and their characters aren't really put on display. They're put into pieces of paper, and they're just facts and physical characteristics and things like that, and those don't really describe the people that we work with. And so I think for me to be able to see these people and get to know them, I always then think back, what if a jury had gotten to see these things? And so that's why these people have to be given a second chance. We need a chance to put their characters on display to really show that they're innocent and that they deserve to have the life that they were leading before what happened to them. This kind of work has changed my view of the criminal system because I think, you know, I had certain stereotypes just like anybody else. Whether you realize you're doing it or not, you are profiling people when you see them. And now I've learned to have a totally different perspective on the people that I meet, and to really try and delve into a person's character when I meet them, and to try and not judge people at face value. And I think if generally society got to do the same sort of things that I get to do every day, I don't think we would have as many innocent people in prison.